going on to the last sutra of the previous chapter, which we had just not finished. So in this Nyaya 1 to 20, just read that first. Tad vikalpa jati nigraha sthana bahutvam. So in the two sutras previous to this, we had read about the 16 categories, the last two categories. So what are the last two categories? One is jati and nigraha sthana. So basically we are talking about the logical fallacies. So logical fallacies, they are clubbed under four basic units. So one of them is hetu in the form of uh, hetu, which is in the form of an apparent hetu, a cause that is not clear. So we had studied the four different part of hetu, and then chala also we have studied different parts. So jati and are two kinds of logical fallacies. Jati indicating what when we are categorizing something. So if we make general assumption, very kind of logical fallacy will lead us to, and then just when we reach this version for review. So basically, I think that we reach a conclusion which is not a real conclusion. It is something that still has been left unsaid. It is not a final conclusion. So those two kind of uh, logical fallacies, they have many subcategories. There are many parts. So one has 24 kinds of this Nigra Sthanam, and Jati has 22. So both these have many sub parts. So they will be covered in the last chapter, the fifth chapter, starting from the first part itself. Right. So there we have the starting of these two of logical fallacies. The first in this chapter itself. So because they will be covered later, this is what is said in the 20th Sutra. Kalpat Jati Nigraha Sthana Bahutva. So Jati and Nigraha Sthana Bahutva. There are so many kinds of Jati and Nigraha. So they are later on, that Vikalpat. So it has so many variety. There are so many kinds of Jati and Nigraha Sthana. You will see them in more detail. Basically, we have seen just the basic definition is two. So in this way, this chapter is concluded. This first second part of Nyaya Darshan by Sri Gautam Maharishi that we have come to a conclusion. So we move on to the next. So this is now the second part one, right? Or you two chapter one, whichever way you like to name it. In Sanskrit, it is Adhyaya and Anik. What समान अनेक धर्म अधिव्यासात अन्यतर धर्मात अध्यवसायात वा न संशय. So basically, what next four sutras, what are they going to do is they will try to refute that anything called sanshay even exists, that there can even be sanshay, that there can be doubt. So basically what it will be trying to say is that doubt is something when you are vacillating between two opinions, but he says most people are fixed onto one opinion itself. So basically doubt is not there. So either they are in error or either they are in knowledge. In either case, sanshaya does not come in, right? And so then from the sixth sutra, the author will answer this. So if we are looking at this sutra, then it will be relevant to go to the first book, the 23rd sutra. That was the definition of sanshaya. Definition of sanshaya according to the author Nyaya. So that definition is attacked here in these next few sutras, right? So I'll shift to that sutra 1123, right? There is a Zoom link also I have given for those who are joining on Clubhouse. If they want to join on Zoom for the live class, they share the text. So just look at the this is the 23rd Surah of the first chapter. What it says? उपपत्ति विप्रतिपत्ति उपलब्धि शेष अपेक्षे विमर्श संशय. So there is such a defined some it comes in when two objects have that is similar properties, two objects have different properties. We are check out this is then Vipratipatti, non-availability. The object is not available for full perception. It is available for totally unavailable, or it is partially available for perception. When it is uh, indirectly perceived. And then we have so in this way व्यवस्था some special property which we can see that we some kind of doubt to our knowledge. Some that we have perceived, but still it is for us to give a conclusion of or what thing. It can be seen we are discussing. So these they are attacked in text. समान अनेक धर्म व्यवस्था, all of these are attacked in other sutras. So we just go back current act. So I'll just bring that up. So what is this? I'll see समान अनेक basically what is not sanshay, what is not doubt, they will not be doubt, in which case na sanshay, right? So where is that non sanshay? Saman anek dharma adhyavasaya. So when saman dharma and anek dharma, when the similar properties and different properties of an object are they are cognized, then what happens is that अन्यतर धर्मात अध्यवसायात ना संशय. You cannot make a decision on which of these you are perceiving. Then that doubt will not be there, because at one time we are only in one of the two states. So uh, this said, some say doubt cannot arise from the common and uncommon, whether and in then what happens, like say we have seen here that there is a uh, tall pillar, and there is a man. If seen through partial darkness, we said that this thing will have a sunshine, a doubt in our mind that this is a post or a man. But what this arguer is saying, he is saying that when I whichever of the properties is perceived, we make a conclusion about that only, right? So he says that when I suddenly look at the through the dark, I see something according to my own thought process, my sanskara. Now, if I see I see a tree or a post, then for me it is a tree or a post only. If I see a man, for me it is a man only. So whatever be the state of conclusion of out of these two, I am one conclusion. So is that I am thinking that I'm mad, or I'm thinking this is a so only doubt will be, or sanshaya or doubt only will be when I'm conflicted between the two. He says most persons are in either one of the states of these two, right? So these will be answered later. So we'll go on to that later. So we'll just look at the objections first, right? Saman anek dharma upapatte. So if you look at the next one, then vipratipatti avyavastha adhyavasaya cha. So vipratipatti, where we have a wrong knowledge, or where the knowledge is not available for us about any object, then uh, uh, that knowing about that, to make a nischay, adhyavasaya about that, to make a perception about that, we can never be we can never call it doubt. It will not fall into the category of doubt. How? Because if we have a wrong conclusion about something, then that wrong conclusion is our knowledge. That wrong conclusion itself is our knowledge. That is what he is saying. Or if I don't have a knowledge about something, then there cannot be doubt there. There is saying then only wrong knowledge is with us. No, there is not a state of doubt, right? And then next sutra, vipratipattau cha sampratipatte. So there he says, in the case of conflicting testimony, vipratipatti and sampratipatti. Vipratipatti when we don't have any proper knowledge, and sampratipatti when we have a different knowledge, or when we have reached a conclusion, right? So here he is saying that in either of these states we still will not be able to have a complete state of doubt. So like he's saying, two people are disputing, say a Buddhist and a Nyayika, or a Buddhist or and a Vedantist. So both are, say, arguing about whether the soul exists or not. So whatever they are arguing, whichever person is arguing for which side, he is sure about his knowledge. So for them, the doubt does not exist. Right? For whom the doubt exists, we'll come to that later. That is in the answer. Right? So in both of these cases, what will happen is vipratipatti and sampratipatti. There are people who will be in a debate. They are both arguing for one or two of the propositions. Right? So like if we say this H2O is a uh, something is an object. Some will say it's a liquid, a solid, or a gas. So basically what is H2O? Water. So water, it can be in all three states, right? So someone might be living in a certain place where water stays always frozen. He will say it is ice. Uh, another will who is living in a tropical region, he will say it's a liquid. Someone who's living in on another planet where there is no water as a liquid, he will say it is a gas. So it depends on their viewpoint. Whatever viewpoint they are with, whatever state they are observing, for them that is the truth. For all of these three peoples, what they are saying is the truth. So there is not a state of doubt for them. So vipratipatti and sampratipatti, whatever state is there for any of those persons, it will cause them to stick to their conclusions. If their notion might be right, or their notion might be wrong, or their notion might have multiple view angles to it, whichever angle there is. So if whatever angle there is, they will be stuck in their convictions, right? So what he's saying again, if there is vipratipatti or sampratipatti, in either of these cases, someone has wrong knowledge, then also he can be stuck in the wrong knowledge. Then also he has a conclusion where he is stuck on to, he does not have doubts. Sanshaya is not there for him. And then for a person of sampratipatti who has reached a right conclusion, there might be an alternate conclusion that we will see under the nigrah sthan. So that for that person also, the state of sanshaya is not there, even if he has the right knowledge. Huh? So obviously, someone who be having sanshaya. Okay, so and अव्यवस्थात्मनि व्यवस्थिता वा so say doubt they say does not arise from perception and non that is irregular perception, right? That irregularity they say is not to go away. How can I say uh, that mirage, there is some water there, I can see water. So even if there I am told that this is not water but it's a mirage, but for me I will not stop seeing it. It will again, it will always be there. So for me my perception will always be there, that avyavastha, that state of irregularity will always be there, right? If someone tells me the sun does not go around the earth, we've seen this example multiple times. So if someone says the sun does not go around the earth, it is the earth going around the sun, but my perception is I see the sun every day rising in the east and setting in the west. That perception, even though it is not based on fact, because for someone who's a neutral observer who's observing from another viewpoint, right from space, he can see the earth is moving around the sun. So for that person that viewpoint is correct, or you can make a calculation, you can make an inference depending on the shadow of the sun, moon, and eclipses and so on. So any of those observations will tell you, will let you know that the sun is not moving around the earth. But does my perception change? No. So that avyavastha, that state of wrong observation, it does not go away. So even after telling, so in that state also the state of irregularity continues. And then the state of continued conflict, that is in the fifth sutra. So you just look it up. So fifth, तथा अत्यंत संशय तद धर्म सात्य उत्पत्ति. There is a continuity, satya utpatti hai. It goes on and on. So if there is some case of doubt where there is endless doubt or continuous doubt, then also that doubt will continue to exist, and that I will not be able to know that it is actually a doubt, right? So if someone tells me that we are not actually uh, separate beings, we are just characters in a video game. So he can convince us. He can convince us by using various different logic, different kinds of programming and all that. He can show us that we are characters in a game. You might have heard this kind of thing. So does that mean we'll be convinced? It is not necessary. Yeah? So that state of doubt will continue. In that state, what we are saying is, again, that is something that for which a conclusion cannot be reached. it is not possible for us to reach any conclusion about that. Maybe when some future proof is reached, then it's a different case. Though, of course, it doesn't look likely. So, in any case, there can be what we call a continued wrong perception. So, all of these also, in all of these, Sanshaya is not there. But why is Sanshaya there? That is answered in the next sutra. So, the writer, the author is saying, you are right, but we have to see, not look at just the person who is in the state of wrong perception. We have to look at the person doing the examination, right? So yathokta adhyavasayad eva tad vishesh apekshat sanchayena na sanchayo na atyant sanchayo va. So what he is saying is yathokt, whatever has been said earlier. So yathokt adhyavasayat eva. So whatever conclusions or whatever end that we reached, tad visheshat apekshat sanchay na sanshay. So whatever has been said in the regarding the recognition of properties common to many objects, wherever there are one property that is common to many objects, so there are certainly doubt, there is no right. So here what is basically is there basically can be three conditions here. So what are the three conditions here? So if you look at this, uh, uh, says that there is a doubt arising, uh, conflicting testimony. Someone is saying that that is one second. Someone is saying nothing. The person is whatever they say. Both have they are sure that there is not a state of mind of these people, right? So even that is there. If their subjects, so the debate continues, the position one of these not established. Even if it is not established, for the state of doubt is always there. He's saying the doubt is for the observer person. The person is willing to learn. So science, basically what they say is the starting point for any inquiry of sanshaya. Without sanshaya, without doubt, any inquiry cannot be started. So in this way, what he's saying is, I agree that you are saying that for the persons in the debate, they might be fixed onto their views. For them, doubt does not exist. But that is because they are dogmatic. They are trained to only obey their own system. But for an open minded person, when he indulges in debate, he might have to encounter a contrary view. And so, in that contrary view, he might then try to decide by discussion, debate, logical rationalization, and so on. So, when he does that, he will ultimately either establish his position or he will have to give it up. So, in that case, before that state is reached, he will be in a state of doubt. So, some people are of firm conviction. They feel that they can prove whatever they say is right. Sometimes there can be something that is, and there is something that has multiple sides, right? So, when we are describing the reality, what we say in according to the Vedas, what is the soul reality? Brahman, Atma. So, that has so many sides that we have six different sciences, six darshan shastras, which out of one of which we are studying, which is Nyaya. So all of them, they describe each facet of the reality, right? So then what happens is that in that description, the person is not in a state of doubt about which one is correct, but after studying all, he will conclude that they are all correct, and they are describing different sections of that reality, not just in totality. No one can describe in totality, right? So uh, basically what we see here is, where does doubt come in? Doubt comes in firstly for the observer, who is the listening to both sides of the debate, and secondly for the person who is with an open mind, right? For other persons, that doubt is not there. So doubt is the beginning point of our journey towards knowledge. Any knowledge that we have to reach, it has to start with sanshaya, doubt, right? So that is what is said here. And then we look at the second one. The second objection was that doubt cannot arise from the irregularity of perception. So if we are something observing irregularly, so that irregularity is there, and it has to be understood as something that is going on. But he says that when you are perceiving some irregularity, then that irregularity, it can be understood by rational debate. All of these, basically the main topic is, main argument is that through rational debate, any proposition can be established, and then till that proposition is not established, sanshaya will be there, right? So Zoom, we have 10 more minutes, we'll continue after that. uh, so that is the second one. Then in the fifth sutra, what we said was, there is, what we said is, endless doubt, continuous doubt, something that is there, that will keep on continuing till we reach a conclusion. So here also it says that even though there is desire, there will always be a desire to and desire about brings about the state of doubt, brings about the state we have to understand. Even if someone tells you, keep on having, whether I'm not, some days the earth is not going around the sun, sun not going around the sun, then that also. So someone might be able to reach a conclusion, someone might not be able to reach a conclusion. But that intermediate state will always be there, where sanshaya will dominate, sanshaya will be there, and it will propel us, keep on propelling us. Even in that state of continued doubt, there will be a state where the examination will keep going on for the person of curiosity, for the person desirous of knowledge, जो जानना चाहता है, someone who really wants to know, that journey will keep on going on and on, and in this way he will keep on trying to learn. So then we look at the next sutra. So for the state of continuous doubt, he adds another sutra. Yatra sanshaya tatra evam uttar prasangah. So whenever there is doubt, there is continuing doubt exists about the state of any argument. Whenever there is an argument that is made for something that is not normally uh, perceived by us, known by us, understood by us, then we have to keep on examining. Just as I said earlier also, we have to keep on examining, we have to keep on logically verifying, we have to keep on bringing new arguments. Uttar prasangah, yatra sanshaya tatrevam uttar prasangah. One after the other, we have to keep examining newer and newer ways by which we can finally remove the doubt. So that doubt has to be continued. So now we next look at the uh, if we remember the 16 categories, then you must know that sanshaya was the third. So praman, pramay, sanshaya. But we discuss sanshaya first, because sanshaya is the starting point. It's the starting point of any kind of inquiry. So that is why we discussed sanshaya. So earlier the propositions were stated, the definitions for any of the categories was given, and they were discussed. Now we are discussing whether there can be an alternate whether some of the definitions that we have given to the categories are correct or not, whether we can falsify some of those arguments, whether we can give a better argument, or we can say no, they were wrong arguments. This is something that this is some category that need not be discussed or known, right? So we did that for Sanchay, and now we are going for the means of knowledge, praman. So praman, so what is this saying? Pratyaksh आदिनाम अप्रामाण्यम त्रैकाल्य असिद्धे, right? So what he's saying basically is perception and other means of knowledge. So there is praman. So praman, there are, we have seen the four different kinds of pramanas. So all of those, so first is pratyaksha praman, direct perception; anuman praman, indirect perception; shabda praman, and upman. Shabda is verbal testimony or testimony of the shastras, and then finally the upman praman, where by comparison or by collating two different experiences we can understand each other. So all these pramanams, the four pramanams, pratyaksh adinam. Pratyaksh is the first one, adinam signifies the remaining three. So what are of these four pramanams? Trekalye asiddhe, they are invalid as they are impossible at all three times. So in the case of pratyaksha praman or the other pramanams, uh, if we classify them at what, at the time of perception, what occurs, so then we will find that they do not uh, hold valid in all three times. What are the three times? Past, present, future, right? So if we'll just examine that, we'll just have a look into this. What is he saying? So when we are saying that there can be again here uh, three kinds of ways which we can know an object. So that pramanam, it can be either that the pramanam like I saw an object, right? So he's saying if it happened in the past, then also it is not valid. If it happens in the present, then also it is not valid. If it will happen in the future, then also it's not. It will not. It is not valid. So that is said in the next three sutras. We'll just have a look at that, and then we'll try to understand what are his objections. So pratyakshadinam apramanyam prekalya asiddhe. So पूर्वम ही प्रमाण सिद्धो न इंद्रियार्थ सन्निकर्षात प्रत्यक्ष उत्पत्ति ही. So basically what is pramanam? It is the, we said, indriya sannikarsha. Through the contact of the sense organs with the sense objects, a praman is received or known, or some object is known. So how is an object known? By using our sense organs or whatever means of knowledge to examine an object. When our sense organs come in contact with an object, the information from that object is brought back towards to our mind, and our mind is able to analyze that information, and therefore we are able to know what that object is, what is the nature of the object, what is the status of the object, and so we are able to know that. So if we look at let us look at this definition and assume it happens in the past. So if we are saying perception occurred before now, anteriorly, so if it occurred before, it could not have arisen from the contact of a sense with its object. So if we are saying that this perception of anything, that if we are perceiving the color of something, we are perceiving a sound, we are perceiving anything. So if that perception occurs before the indriya and artha sannikarsha, that is the contact of the sense organs, that means that it could not have arisen from the contact of a sense with its object. Uh, so if you are saying that perception occurred in the past, that means that you must give up the definition that perception arises from contact of a sense organ with its object, because in the past that sense organ was not interacting with the object. You are talking about a conclusion that you're talking about is in the present. So he says that basically when you are looking at a pramanam, you cannot say that in the past that thing occurred. In the past that thing occurred. So what will you say? You will say, of course, yes, it was not, it did happen in the past, it happened in the present, it's happening in the present. So he has a very intelligent argument for the present also. We'll just look at that. Okay. So if uh, okay, first he goes for the paschat siddho. If he says the perception will occur in the future, paschat siddho na pramanebhya prameya siddhi. So if the perception occurs posteriorly, if he says it will occur in the future, then he says you cannot maintain the conclusion that the objects of sense are established by perception. So basically what he's saying is, if you are perceiving something and you're saying that this perception will occur in the future, then that perception will not be valid for the present time. This is something going to occur. So if it is going to occur, then it is not available for you right now. So basically he's ruling out the future and the past as moments for perception, right? So the, that means we are left with the only option that where is the perception occurring? Perception is occurring now, right? So for that he has an interesting argument. uh, the time for Zoom is up, so I'm just reconnecting. Give me a minute for everyone, and I'll reconnect, and please join back. See you then. So basically we are looking at the next one, where he comes to the present. So he's shown that perception cannot occur in the past, it cannot occur in the future. So what is the problem when it is occurring in the present, right? So here, this is the 11th sutra. Yugpat siddho pratyarth nityatvat krama vritti va bhavo buddhi nam. So what he's saying, yugpat siddho, whenever there is whenever there is a perception, then it is through the contact, yugpat, to contact of two objects. Huh? So in any case, there is on at one time there can be only one perception. So yugpat siddho pratyartha nityatvat. So because this perception is occurring uh, in a simultaneous manner. So if the mind, it can grasp only one object at a time, or if it is it is observing one object, then if that object uh, has a color, it has a sound, it has a touch, all of these it will occur simultaneously. So he is saying pratyartha nityatvat krama vritti bhava buddhi nam. So if perception were simultaneous with this object, there would not, says the objector, be any order of succession in our cognitions, as there is no such order in their corresponding objects. So basically what he's saying, we'll just discuss. So here what the text is, here the objector basically is saying is, uh, you are saying that this perception will occur in the present. So let us say that it is occurring in the present. Then what is the time that you allocate to this perception? In at any given moment, there is something that is being perceived now, or it is being perceived later. So if and right now you are perceiving something that is there, and you are perceiving its color, that means its sense or its touch or its smell you will perceive later on. So again, you are going for one perception from now to the next moment, or you are going to the future. So that means there is no order in our perception. It has to come together. Either the perception, if it is in the present, all the perceptions have to be together. But that is not possible because mind at any time can grasp only one thing at a time. So that means there has to be an order. And if there has to be an order, I have shown you previously that perception cannot be in the past and perception cannot be in the future. So that means in the present also there is no perception, right? So it is a devious argument. It is saying basically about how pramanam, any kind of pramanam is not there. So for this we have an answer. I think answer is a bit detailed, so it will involve at least the next 6 sutras. So I think today we won't have enough time for that. We'll continue for that in the next class, but I'll just outline it for you now. What we have discussed in these last 3 sutras again. So if we are observing an object, then when do we say the perception occurs? If we say the perception occurs in the past, that means the sense was not in contact with that object, but in the past that perception was not there, and the sense organs are always available only in the present. Then again, in the future also same thing is saying, future also that perception cannot occur, because in future also these same knowledge that we are talking about right now, if it is going to occur in the future, then uh, that perception you cannot ascribe to the future point of time. Paschat siddhe hai. So then finally he comes to the present time. So present time also he says that you are not able to perceive anything, because whenever you perceive anything, it is in a state, it is in a continuum. Yeah, there is a continuity of perceptions. So because of that continuity, any single perception, you can keep only one in the present time, the rest you will have to allocate to the other times. So for the other times, you have already proved that perception cannot occur. So what is the basic logical fallacy here? We'll just, if you can discuss this. The basic logical fallacy here of the person giving it is that he is assuming that this continuity of perceptions is something that cannot be retained by the mind, right? So that will be the argument that will be given in the later sections, that even though the perception is occurring now and that perception is carried on to the forward movement, then the mind retains all perceptions as the sum total of previous perception. So it any current perception, even though it is not fully done in the past and it will not be done in the future also, but in the present it can be a sum total of perceptions. That is why sometimes there is a time gap, right? Even if you are watching something on TV and you are hearing the same thing on the radio, you will find there is a fraction of a time difference where you will be able to perceive or hear something as a cricket match going on. Sometimes, even on the net, you can tell that you have seen a four being hit and then it's coming up later on the TV. So there is a time lag. So because of that time lag, each perception is a sum of individual perception. So these will cover into the next 5 sutras. And today, because we don't have enough time, so I think we'll wind up for today. Any other, before we close this class, any questions anyone has? I think someone asked about Ajayji. What is Nyaya's position on Khyati? Huh. So Khyati basically under Khyati and all that. So that is already we discussed in this in the source of perception. Perception is done through the different pramanams. So what is the different kinds of pramanams? All that has been done, and we'll cover that more in detail as we are already doing in this in the section on pramanams. So we'll keep continuing that. So if anyone any other questions, I think we can continue there, or we'll find a it. Manisha, all clear? Shreya has something to say. Yeah. I've sent him an invite to speak. Okay, Shreya is saying all clear. Anything you want to say something, Shreya?
No, no, sir. I'm all clear, and I'm just looking forward to the next session, next class.
I couldn't hear you clearly.
I'm saying I'm all clear, sir. I have no doubt. I'm just looking forward to the next class.
Okay, okay. Okay then. Please do join for the next class. Any questions you want, you can write to me also. Late you can send the message in this group also, and we can try and answer them. Okay.
Sure.
Okay then. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha Hari Om. Thank you everyone. Thank you for joining. See you then next week. Take care. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful week ahead. Bye everyone.